And again, welcome to our September 2022 webinar, national webinar. There are at least 20 of us on here and more signed up, so we can expect them to be joining us. And thank you so much for joining us. We have a very full schedule of things to chat about. We're going to talk first, send the microphone down to our national headquarters, Henry Rosales. So thanks so very much for joining us. We're down in San Antonio. I think you have a commercial message, and then we've asked you to talk about one of the important but misunderstood components of our Volks marching program. Take it away, sir.
Great. Thank you, and good evening to everyone. The commercial is just a reminder that our annual individual donor campaign has kicked off already with the early giving, if you will, but the actual day is this Thursday and Friday. The time is a little different. It goes from one evening to the following evening. So it starts on the evening of the 22nd and wraps up on the evening of the 23rd. And in the checkpoint, there were times where those that want to give, where you can match your give. It could actually be a triple match because we have our own match, and then there's a match on that the Big Give sponsors are also contributing up to $100. So there are certain times suggested to give on those dates, so you can get your contribution matched. And so also, the campaign goes to October 31st. The online part of it, the live part of it is this week, but it continues through October 31st. If you'd like to make a contribution, it's much appreciated. And one thing new this year, that if you're having some fun and you're out making contributions, or you got a group together, group could be more than one, send us your pictures or live stream it, or send us a video, and we're going to pick the best 3 celebrations, if you will, and those clubs will have their dues waived for next year, their club dues. The winners, pick the top 3. If we only get 3, then I guess we have 3 winners. Okay, thank you again, appreciate it. Are we talking insurance now? Yes. So let me just give a quick overview of our insurance, because in case there are some questions or concerns, I'm happy to answer those right now. But our insurance is basically a general liability coverage for our clubs, and clubs includes the ABA as well. And that insurance, I think you're familiar with the form. It's on our website. It's on the forms section of the website. But that's, I believe it's a $2 million coverage, $1 million per occurrence. And it's basically to protect the club officers or any agent of the club, anyone who's acting as an agent on behalf of the club, from any lawsuits that might come up from an incident or anything else. So that's pretty much the basis of it. Then there's also a medical writer that we have to carry because we're classified as a sports organization, and the medical writer is up to $10,000 per individual, but that's only comes into play one of 2 ways. One is an individual gets hurt and they have no coverage, no insurance, then they can submit the claim. And 2 is they've exhausted their current plan, or their current plan didn't cover all of the medical bills or expenses, so then they can submit up to $10,000 minus $100 deductible. The events that are covered are, primarily are biking, swimming, cross country, skiing, snowshoeing, rowboat, and canoeing. That's how they're listed in the policy. The issue about participants versus non-participants, so that comes into play pretty much under the medical rider. So the way it would work is if someone did get hurt and they're not enrolled, and by that they're assuming that they're a member. They say enrolled, but that's basically if they're not a member of a club or the ABA, then they're probably not going to cover them. So people that that are not club members, something happens, they probably will not get picked up on the medical rider. Then there's the issue of liquor, legal liquor and host liquor. Sometimes we like to have events or do things that involve alcohol, and the host liquor is covered under our general liability policy. But the difference is basically this: host liquor means it's free wine, free beer, free liquor. You're giving it to or having it at your reception, and it's free for everybody, and there's no cost associated with it. In other words, it's not like you bought the ticket and that includes 2 free drinks. Well, they're included in the ticket, the price of the ticket. So according to insurance, that's not host. They're paying a fee which includes the liquor. Or you have a cash bar, people have to pay for the liquor. So anytime there's a transaction or it's included in a cost or something, then they consider that liquor legal. And that type of coverage clubs do have to purchase. So you can do that, but if you do that, so if you're charging, you have a cash bar and it's one of your events, then note that you would have to take out the liquor legal coverage. If you're giving it away, then it's covered under our current policy. Kind of weird, but that's how it works. Another thing to note is incident. So if there is an incident, again, a reminder, there's the treatment must, well, first of all, the report, you have 30 days to submit that report, and that comes to our office. And those documents are on the website, but it's basically an incident report form, the flyer or directions, map, anything you can send related to the event, a copy of that, and the waiver. And that comes to us, and then we forward that to the insurance company. So there's a 30-day window to do that for incidents, and then treatment must start within 90 days of the accident. And so that's for the the 10,000, well, 9,900 on medical coverage. There was a question about ACE events. I don't know if anyone here online is doing ACE events, but again, it's important if you're doing ACE events that, by the way, they are covered, but it's just important that you enter the information like you would normally do into you would sanction it basically. And you must have everyone sign a waiver. So for ACE events, the idea is to have regular walks. It could be a group, a neighborhood, a meetup group, whatnot. But it's important that that they are entered into the ESR, and that you have a signed waiver. And it could be a log with the waiver on the top, and then everybody signs the log page. But that should be signed every week. So if they walk every week, they should just sign their name on that as a name. You go off and walk. And there should be a map as well. Everyone, you don't have to have a map, but you should have a map on file, because the insurance will want to see if there's an incident. Well, were they on the route? So you should have a start and an end point and a route, and that should be kept on file. Doesn't mean you have to give everybody a map, but you should have that identified route on file, at your office or with your club, if just in case there is an incident. And alcohol is not allowed on the ACE events prior or during the walk. There's a access coverage, additional coverage if you need. Let's say you're partnering with the park or a city or county, and they want you to put them on as an additional insured. That form is now automated in the sanctioning system where you can fill out the form and submit it, and that goes directly to the insurance company, and then they will email you back the additional insured. Sometimes the city or the park will want more than 2 million. I've seen some come across for 3 million, 4 million. And so at that point, our insurance company is willing to provide that, but there's probably an additional cost. And usually it's not that much, it's probably $100 or a couple hundred more. But they will ask the club if you still want to purchase it. So it's not purchased automatically. When there's an additional fee, the club will be advised what that is, and then the club has the option to move forward, or we're going to find another venue for the start or finish, etc. And so they can find another location where you don't have to pay that additional money. And so that's how that would work. Those are pretty much the highlights of our insurance. So I guess I'll pause and take any questions.
Henry, Tim here, and a quick question. First question, clarification on who is covered for the medical. You gave us the idea that you had to be a member. We heard that you had to be a member. So if somebody bought a starter package, do they count a starting walk package? And they are going for credit, are they in the club now at that point because they are participating in an active program versus somebody who signs up as a free walker who may not be, that would probably not be a true member per se. But where does that line come where you're now participating in an AVA program and you're in for the long haul?
Yeah, so that's I think that definitely would help make the case stronger, so that if this individual, just say for example, did have an accident or something during the walk, that they could argue that, well, they are a participant now. But I think that the best way to define it is that they should be a member, an enrolled member of your club or the AVA. And there's ways you can do that, is that you could say, for this one walk, you're going to give everybody a 1 month free membership. And then when they sign, then that'll work. So, there's some things you can do like that. But I'm not going to say that they would say no, that they wouldn't cover them, but they would look to, they look for ways to see how not to, if you will. And so the more you can do to prove that they are an enrolled member, then the stronger the case. And the simplest thing is just to give them a free membership for one walk or that month or something, offer them that, and that will work.
Thank you. From Don Gruber, a question in chat. So if someone is not a member of a club or AVA and they are injured, does an incident report still need to be completed since they are not covered under the medical rider?
Yes, yes, because just because they're not covered, that we don't know if there's going to be a lawsuit from that or what could become of that. So
Right.
we would appreciate sending that anyways.
Perfect. One last question I have, and this just came up because of our new special program where we're actively getting partners in our special programs. And in the Washington Rochambeau, we're going to learn that the National Park Service and another nonprofit organization are in fact co-hosts of our program with us. That it's that kind of association we've really been craving with additional marketing capability, but they would like that to be named in the coverage. Now, this is a group of walks that meet those qualifications. Is there some way to create a single document that all club events that click the link that say they're part of this special program their insurance will also include our special program partners?
It sounds like that they would be listed as an additional insured, all those partners for the walks, if I'm understanding what you're asking.
Yes, but does each club now need to go in there for their walk, which qualifies for the special event, and include the partners? Or can I, as the national special programs person, create a form or a relationship or some sort of contract with our insurers saying every club that clicks on our ESR that they are participating in this special program, that their insurance coverage also includes the special program partners whose logo will also be on those special program logbooks?
I'm gonna have to find out. I get what you're saying now. And I'm gonna say they're probably gonna say each club's gonna have to submit an additional insured if it's a different location where the event is being hosted. Because yeah, I don't know, Tim. I'm gonna have to follow up on that one. You're saying, can we do like a general one that includes everybody, right? Versus each club going in and submitting all the additional insured.
That's correct, because this is a national partnership, and essentially it would be like in this case it'll be the Washington Rochambeau and the National Parks Association and the National Park Service are both going to be named co-hosts of this event along with America's Walking Club. So can we create this, they're not asking for any additional coverage anywhere. So it's just a matter of any club that does an event in this special program, their insurance automatically includes these two additional special partners just because they are part of the special program. That's what I'm hoping we can do, so that we don't create an administrative burden on our clubs to go in there and have to do this for each of the walks that qualify.
Yeah, and they're probably not gonna list anyone unless there's a request that goes into them, that's sent to them. So we could look at like a national organization and see if they'll include them, but I don't know that.
If you'll check on that. We have another question from Wayne Knapp. Wayne, you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yes, thank you. Henry, I would just like to clarify the covered people under the general liability policy. I heard you say that it protects club officers for suits against them, but does it also include the walk participants? If you have 50 people walking along and one of those participants causes damage or injury to somebody else, is that person covered under AVA's general liability policy?
Let me, I might not understand. So it would cover third parties. So if there's an incident or something and then we're sued by someone who's not a member, or they cause some property damage or something, it would cover us. But I'm not sure if that's what you're asking.
Yes, it is. I've heard you say it protects club officers, but there are more than club officers that take these walks. There could be 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50 people that go on a walk, and if one person happens to step out of line and steps in front of a car and causes that car to crash into something else, or there could be some liability claims against not only the club and AVA, but against that person.
Mhm.
So I just want to clarify whether that person is also protected under the liability portion.
If they're a club member,
Okay,
if they're not, then probably not.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
We have a question from Bob is asking, when is the insurance in effect for an event regardless of the type? When does it take event? When does it kick in?
Our policy runs from January 1 through December 31. And we don't negotiate a new policy until the latter part of the year, like November. That's just because of, well, different things, but that needs to be approved by the board. And then we try to renegotiate the pricing and everything. And so we don't do it way out in advance.
I guess the question is more along the line of event day. When does it kick in? When somebody shows up at the event, if they're driving to the event, if they are planning it 24 hours in advance, 48 hours in advance, 6 months in advance, doing a pre-walk, is the insurance kick in at that time?
So it kicks in during the event or pre-event. So like if you're planning or doing the walk, you know, so they're acting on as an agent of the club or the officers, because they're doing the pre-planning for the event, that would be covered, and then the actual day of the event. But it doesn't cover transportation to and from an event and from point A to point B during an event. It does not cover transportation.
That's great.
So let's say you got to walk and it starts at point A, and then everybody gets in their car and they try to point B for the second half of the walk or the finish. That in between part is not covered.
All right, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Those are the questions we currently have. Wayne, I'm assuming your hand is still up from your previous question, unless you have another one. No, guess not. All right, so all the hands are down. Henry, thank you so very much for joining us, sir. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and explain this. Of course, we're being recorded, and this will be in the general information and in the chronicles for all our club members to refer to at any time. And I'm sure there may be additional questions coming to you, and we'll try to filter those questions to you. Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, and I want to just advise everyone, if there are questions on the insurance, please shoot me an email right away, or there's an incident. Those go directly to me, and then I will work with the clubs and the insurance company to make sure that things get handled correctly.
That's great. Thank you so very much.
Mhm.
All right, we're going to turn to another topic. We're going to call on our Atlantic Region Director and techno wizard, Jeff Giddings. Jeff, thanks so very much for joining with us. You have some pretty special technology you'd like to share with us, and I think it looks really, really cool, and we're really excited about using it here. So Jeff, microphone is yours, sir. Thank you.
I guess I better unmute then. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. What I've been working on for the last couple of months, especially, but previous to that, over the last year or so, has been trying to find an app. Since I do most of my work on Android, I'm sorry about all of the Apple iOS users. I tend not to go there, but for this one, I'm trying to make sure that this app works on both Apple and for Google phones. What I'm trying to do is come up with a mapping program that we can use to get away from paper instructions. I have identified several Android applications. I've been doing a market survey. I've done over 30 different applications and looking to see if they would meet my standards for what I would call paperless instructions. One of the ones that I found has also been utilized in an IML event in Lithuania, and that one is called OsmAnd. And what I'm going to do is share my screen right now and choose this one. So you should be able to see my phone screen right now. The young lady there is my granddaughter, so you'll have to forgive me for that. OsmAnd is an application that is very, very capable. It can do driving navigation, it can do cycling, bicycling navigation, it can do walking navigation and things like that. You can also use it to plot or design a route for a road trip if you want. But anyway, this is the map, and OSM stands for OpenStreetMaps for those that care or don't care. OpenStreetMaps is an organization that provides free and open source maps for anybody who wants to use them. So there is no cost for this application. That's one of the main draws for this. A lot of the other applications I've looked at, to get turn-by-turn directions, you have to pay a subscription fee to that app. And sometimes those subscription fees can be as much as $100 a year, or on average around $25 a year. So what I'm trying to do is come up with a stopgap application that we can experiment with and try. Tim and Celia have graciously accepted this application for use at the US Freedom Walk Festival in October. So we're busy testing it out and things like that. What you see right now is a map of my neighborhood in Maryland. The dashed red line that you see in the middle is a route that I had imported from a GPX file that I created using plotteroute.com. And what we can do, let me show you a little bit about how to import that. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, all kinds standard phone application stuff. You have 4 buttons down at the bottom. You have a hamburger menu button, a navigate button, a turn on your local position, and then you have also the zoom in and zoom out buttons on the left. So if I touch the menu button, you can see quite a few menu items here. You can go down to settings. It's really complicated, this app. I have generated a 15-page document, including screenshots for just the Android setup to do walks. So that gives you a little bit of information as to how complicated and how versatile this is. But I don't want you to be too concerned about that at this point. Like I said, I have the document. It includes installation, it includes getting started and setting it up for walking. So you don't have to do any of that. I've done a lot of the heavy lifting for you already. The first thing to do is under plan a route, you can see that you can create a new route, opening an existing track or an imported track. What we will do for US Freedom Walk Festival and hopefully the Olympiad and Texas Trail Roundup in February, you will import a GPX manage track. So if you choose one of your file managers on the phone, you can see that I've downloaded a bunch of different GPX files that you can bring in. So what I will do is I will escape out of that and go back to what I had before. So that's plan a route. So if I cancel out of that, and then you go to navigation. Okay, this is, since I said that this app, you can do driving, bicycling, car travel. It's set up for giving you your position, a lot like Google Maps and or Waze apps. You can, it'll plot a route for you if you set up a destination. But if you go to options, you can say, I want to follow a track. And then you specify one of the tracks that you want to follow. And I'm going to select my neighborhood route. And what it does is it turns that red dash line now and overlays it with the route that you're going to walk. Then it's just a matter of closing that out and saying, okay, you're going to walk that route, and then you just want to start. One of the other things that's kind of interesting about this is if you want to, you can set it up and simulate the walk route. So let me see. This is all kind of off the cuff. Sorry. Well, anyway, so if I say I want to start this route, and okay, that brief detour.
Trip is about 9 kilometers. Time is 2 hours 18 minutes. You have been off the route for 20 meters. You are back on the route.
Okay, so that is the voice navigation that you would have, and that voice will then take you all along this route, and you can see the arrows, how it's going to route you and stuff like that. It looks a little different than the plotted route that I had before, so I'm a little concerned as to where I'm going, but like I said, this is an experiment, and we're trying to work through all of the little nitty-gritty details to allow you to be able to walk this route or any route that you create with just your phone in hand. And
you have been off the route for 20 meters. You are back on the route.
I'm going to stop the navigation. Yes, oops, I didn't dismiss. Yes. So that's my hope and my goal, is that we can get away from paper instructions, and we're also using this as a learning tool to figure out what we need to do as a part of AVA Nation to create its own walking app, where you can download anything off of the OSB and you can do the walk without having to print the instructions or print the map, or however you want to do that. Are there any questions?
Yes, Jeff, please talk about battery. That's going to be an important thing, since Celia and I have been using it, and we're trying to help you with the Apple thing. We're the Apple people that are working it, but battery sure is an important topic. So what would you say?
Most new phones have enough battery to do this for at least a 10K walk. If you get to longer distances, you may need an extra battery pack. One of the things I tend to do when I use this application is I'll turn my screen off from the phone and just listen to the voice instructions come to me through the audio of the phone. You can also plug in earphones or Bluetooth earphones or plug-in earphones and listen to music while you do your walk, and this will override that music and you can listen to the voice instructions. That is one way to enhance the battery life on your phone, is to turn the screen off and just use it for the voice instructions. Other apps that I've tested, you need to have the screen open and available all the time, so you can look at whether you're on the route or off the route. With this app, you heard that I was off the route for 20 meters and then I was back on the route. That is the one issue I have with this particular app, is it tends to do that occasionally. Since what it's doing is it's drawing the route down the middle of the road, and it could be a 4-lane road or something like that you're walking alongside of. So you could be a little bit away, and GPS is sometimes a little inaccurate, and that sort of thing. So back to battery life. 6K, 5K, 6K, no problem. Unless you have a really old phone and the battery dies quickly. 10K, yeah, you can probably do that without an extra battery. My suggestion is, for anything like a 20K, especially a 20K or a marathon distance, definitely take an extra battery. That is my recommendation. Anything else?
That's great, Jeff. Thank you so very much. And we can testify to the need for battery, and I'm sure Jeff will be able to share good things. Henry put up in the chat the idea that it looks like TTR and the Olympiad will have battery charging stations along the way, kind of like your Tesla charging station sort of thing.
There is also the possibility of having a certain number of extra battery packs for those who care, about 5,000 milliamp hour. That would be enough for an extra 10K. So if you're doing 20K, you may want to buy one of these. I may actually supply some for the Olympiad to be purchased at cost when you're there. If you feel that you want to try this out but don't feel that your battery is sufficient.
From Leslie Stone, we have a question. How do you create the GPX file? Boy, do I.
Okay. Most people that I know about, and I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to bring up another one. This is what I normally use I normally use plotterout.com, and there is a lot of people that do use it. Plotterout.com is very rich in features and things like that. One of the problems is that it does require a $25. You can use PlotterRoute very easily for free if you want, but if you have a full club's worth of routes, like I do here, actually I have several clubs routes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the view for PlotterRoute of the same neighborhood that I had, and this. So you see that it actually does this. The other thing about plotterout.com is if you do buy the premium membership, which is $25 a year, it will also give you turn-by-turn directions, but you have to download a small application from their website to your phone, either Apple or iOS, and it will also give you turn-by-turn directions. So if I go into Edit and Route Planner, some of the things that I see over here is I brought up, this is the route that I started. And here, when I zoom in, this is my house. But the little B here, if I move this off to the right, that's A is the start point and B is the finish point. So there are things that you can do by simply moving these around. Now, there are a couple of different ways you can do this. If you look over here on Linthicum Street, you see that the route is a little off of the street. This means that it's on the sidewalk, and the sidewalk is visible to you in this view. It has a whole bunch of, since I have premium membership, all of these maps that have stars are only visible if you have premium membership. One of the ones I generally use a lot in Plotterout is the hybrid map, where you can see the street map, street location here, but you have the satellite view that you can zoom in and out on, and you can actually plot down the sidewalk or whatever, and where you can see the crossroads and things like that. So when you have this, and this is all done, and you're ready to go, create a GPX file that you want to download to OsmAnd or to any of the other apps. If I go back to my routes and I go back to the view, go back to the view page, down here on Plotterout, you can do a whole bunch of different things with it. You can download a GPX file, a KML file that's used by Google Earth, TCX file, which is very similar to GPX used by Garmin and other devices. FIT is the same thing. JPEG, on the other hand, is simply a image file. So you can download a JPEG, and then okay, there it is. And then I can bring up in the viewer, stop share, this one. So that's what the JPEG file, and I usually download a JPEG file for the maps that I include into my OSB PDF documents and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things you can do with Plotterout. My suggestion would be get started with the free version, learn how to use it. If you like it, great. If you have another application that you have on your PC that you prefer drawing your maps with, that's okay too. So what else?
For Leslie Stone, who asked a question about Map My Walk, Celia just, I'm sorry. Well, there is a question about Map My Walk, and yes, Celia just checked. Map My Walk will do a GPX file. And in this case, as Jeff said, we're going to upload GPX files to a server, and you'll be able to download to whatever program you're going to be using. So yes, Leslie, you can do that. Yes, Jeff.
As to Map My Walk, I believe, yes, you can download a GPX file to it. I forgot how to do that. I used to use Map My Walk a lot prior to some of these other apps. I got away from that, but I'm not sure it'll give you turn-by-turn directions. That's all I'm saying. You'll be able to follow a blue dot around your screen and the route that's displayed on your phone, but I'm not sure that it will give you turn-by-turn directions.
For Bob Boozlich asking the question, after you use things like plot a route, does it give you America's Walking Club OSB quality turn-by-turn directions for that? I believe the answer is no, it does not. You still have to type those puppies out hand by.
Okay. Well, let me stop the share. Go back to plotterout.com and share that one. To answer Bob's question a little bit more. Okay, if I go into Edit with Route Planner, over here on the right-hand side is a little thing, a menu item called Directions. And what it does is it
Could you
brings
share your
up,
screen? Share your screen, please. We can't see.
I'm not, oops, sorry. I picked it, but I forgot to share it. Can you see it? Can you see Plotter Route? No.
Yes, we got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Over on the right-hand side, the fourth menu item down is called Directions. And it toggles a pane on the left side that you can, thought you could pull it out. But anyway, here you see start on McIntyre Road, turn left on Marcia Lane, turn left on, and if you click on that, it brings up a dialog box called an edit dialog box. And you can type in here, and so you can end up with a set of instructions that you can then put into your OSB document, but you still have to format it into 2-column format per the Trailmaster and things like that, documents and stuff. But it does give you a good idea of what terms you're going to do. It doesn't do things like you're coming to a crosswalk. The crosswalk is on the right-hand side of the street. So you want to say, you want to cross to the far side of the road. So you want to say cross and turn right onto Nimitz Avenue or something like that. It doesn't give you that information. It gives you a good starting point for that. But you may want to add more descriptive terms to your instructions so people that are reading it do understand what they're supposed to do, pretty much per the Trailmaster's Guide, the AVA Trailmaster's Guide. So that was a long-winded explanation, but hopefully I answered your question.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. You've answered all the questions that are out there pending. I can very well envision that we'll be having online classes within a year of Trailmaster 2.0 as we envision what trail mastering is going to look like in the future using this new technology. And that's going to be a whole new learning process. Do you think so?
I do indeed think so. And yes, I do believe that there will be many webinars or individual sessions or workshops at both the convention and any of the regional conferences and that sort of thing, just to get people familiar with the technology and not scared of it. Thank you so much, Tim.
Well, thank you so very much for all the work you're doing on behalf of the entire AVA Nation. Thank you so very, very much, Jeff, for all this effort that you're putting in here to help bring us up. I have to, we use Meetup in my club in Virginia, and we've had a number of young people sign up via Meetup, but that idea of carrying pieces of paper really turns them off, and they've actually appealed to us to put it on their cell phone. They want to look at a cell phone, not carry this flagging piece of paper that says, I don't belong here.
That's one easy way to when you're at a traditional event and you're seeing people on the walk and route. Oh yeah, okay, they're on the 10K, they're on the 5K. You know, you can just tell by the color of the paper that they're carrying around. So yeah, you won't be able to do that so much anymore, but it's not there yet. And I do want to stress that there are lots and lots of apps out there all trying to make space in the market. There is another one, like I said earlier, called Footpath. That is another app that's both available on Android and iOS. And it's a lot easier to use than OsmAnd, but to get turn-by-turn directions, you have to pay a subscription fee. You can use it free of charge if you're wishing to follow a blue dot around a route trace, but if you want turn-by-turn, you're going to have to fork over some money.
I understand.
Okay.
Well, thank you so very much, Jeff, for taking the time
Okay.
for all the work you're doing on this. And I can envision we'll have you back over the next couple of months after we try it out at Freedom Walk and the lessons we learn here and as we prepare for Texas in February. So
Yeah.
please, I'll keep you on speed dial, and we'll be back. With you shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
Evolving. Thank you so very much.
Right.
Yeah. So again, we have a short amount of time left in our hour because we do try to do that. I do want to talk about something else that's kind of important, and that is a brand new special program that really does what the program committee has wanted to do for the last few years, is to truly partner with new markets. And in this case, we have a national organization, the Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Route. This is a National Park Service historic trail, and it only has 1 or 2 Park Service employees with it. The rest of it is a nonprofit organization called the Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Route Association. Well, and in this association, there are contacts at the state level, and they put on festivals up and down the 600-mile route, associated with the fact that in 1781, the French went to, after signing the treaty, after Thomas Jefferson got the French to shake their, and the colonials to shake hands, and we became their special project, shall we say that? And our freedom became a special project of the French government. They sent an army to the colonies, and that army marched down the East Coast to the United States over 600 miles to Yorktown, and halfway along the way, the colonial army joined up with them, with George Washington in the lead, and it led to our victory at Yorktown and the creation of what we now know as the United States. This association and the National Park Service that it works with came to us and actually asked us to help create a recreational program that will put this historic trail on the map. And that is truly what we can offer. We've always been looking for what is it we can do? What is our special gift that we can offer to our communities? And this is it. We take our ability to create award programs, our ability to create incentive programs for physical fitness challenges. Well, this was our country's very first international walk. It literally had the French and the colonials walking together. It was a very diverse group of, as you could see, it was multi-ethnic. Native Americans were part of the colonial army as well. And there are festivals, which will be great places to help create a program and be used in a program to help our country walk the Washington Rochambeau Trail. And we're going to use the great role model that we have in the Appalachian Trail. There is it's already kicked off on the special programs list and by ava.org, and there are clubs in 9 states plus the Washington DC area that are a part of this route. And if there are events along the Washington Rochambeau Trail, they qualify. So what we've already created so far is a national program, walk one event in those 9 states and Washington DC. That's 10 events for a national neck medal. And then in Virginia, our state association and our Virginia Volkssports Association are creating events that are really populating what happened in Virginia and really highlighting the history of it. And we're going to create a pin, a Virginia state pin, and we're going to look for other state pins that you can collect. So there's a national program and there'll be individual state programs as well. So it's a pretty neat opportunity for us to use what it is we do best, which is national recreation programs and interactive sports, interacting with our culture, interacting with our scenery, interacting with the people we're with. They're going to, we're creating a web presence on their website. The next time you see this Washington Rochambeau site by next month, it will have very prominently displayed America's Walking Club logo on it as their walking partner to 2020. 2026 is the 250th anniversary of our country. 2031 will be the 250th anniversary of the victory of Yorktown. So we have 9 years for this program to help educate. We're going to help educate our country and our communities about the Washington Rochambeau Trail by allowing them to come out and walk portions of it. And so, again, this was always the vision of where we wanted, what we wanted our special programs to do, not just meet our needs and create little fun incentives for us, but to allow us to go forward and gather new walkers and show them what it is we do for fun, fitness, fellowship, and how you can learn along the trail. There are already events taking place where you'll walk the route. They have charactered, uniformed Colonial Army, French Army reenactors. We even have George Washington that actually participates in some of these events. So how cool is that you could actually do a Volksmarch with George Washington? So that's one of the things. Wayne, you have a quick question, sir?
Yes, I have a quick comment and a question.
Please, please.
We, as you know, we had a chat, and when we had our meeting with the W3R folks, we had identified one so far walk from our Connecticut club that actually specifically mentioned the Washington Rochambeau route even before this program came up. And since it came up, we sent a note to the Northeast clubs that are affected, which would be Walk in Mass, Connecticut, and New York. Well, Connecticut has found they developed, or maybe they blew the dust off a couple of old walks, and they've, so in any event, there are 2 additional walks that Connecticut Club has put up, sanctioned, that include the Washington Rochambeau Trail. Now, that's the comment. The question is, how much of the trail or pearls or whatever do you have to touch in order to qualify? Do you just have to cross the path at some point? Do you have to walk 20K on a W3R trail? What is the criteria?
And the reality is that, remember, this is 5,000 French troop and 7,000 colonial troops. They didn't walk on one sidewalk. The driving route, and really all this is right now, is a commemorative driving route. And these pearls that he mentions, these are the historical things that you'll see. Let's see, we have, you're going to plan your visit, historic sites and museum, a long list of things that you could go visit along this corridor. There is a corridor. So yes, there is a driving route. And if you touch the driving route, that counts. But if you were hoping that there will be festivals, or you'll start your event at one of these pearls, these historical sites, or you'll walk by one of these specific things that are actually mentioned on both the National Park Service and the Washington Rochambeau route. So explore both of those websites, look at what pearls, these little actual historical sites associated with the 1781 to 1783 event, because the French not only walked down, they turned around and walked back 2 years later. So that all counts. And there are encampment sites in Annapolis, encampment sites in Baltimore, that they're actually historical markers. I have historical markers that are 10 miles to the side of the actual driving route, but it's a historical marker. It says George Washington and his army literally crossed this stream at this point. So yes, that would count, even though it's not actually on the commemorative driving route. So look for the history of the 1781 to 1783 march of the armies up and down the eastern portion. And if you can justify that you are walking the path of heroes, and you're walking where George Washington and the Comte de Rochambeau and their armies walked, and that counts. And they're going to give us some freedom here to tell the story, because it really is a corridor. It's not just a single road or a single path. Okay. Does that answer your question, sir? Hope so.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Very perfect. Well, that program is off and running already. So there are places to go on myava.org to help lead you to the logbook, not only for right now for the national program of 1 per state plus Washington, D.C., but also the Virginia 15 events. And again, this is a 9-year program for your first pin. You can also collect pins, because the headquarters for this is actually at Valley Forge. Collect a Valley Forge pin by doing the Valley Forge Walk year-round event. We have a number of events in Virginia. In fact, what they call Yorktown Days, we've been invited to actually walk in the Yorktown Days parade, which is actually on the Yorktown year-round event. So we'll walk the parade and then keep going on the year-round. And so we can be part of that and actually get a interact with history in doing this program. So more to come. We've got 9 years to explore this really significant walking event, literally a walking event, and we get to use our fitness program to help tell that story. A couple of other things we wanted to touch on. Henry, if you're still on, sir, any updates on what's going on in Texas here for February that you might want to share that would incentivize signing up now?
Well, we continue with the early bird registration, and we're just working on the entertainment schedule right now. We'll get a glimpse of that tomorrow during our committee meeting. So if you will, a lot of times people are asking, what does the price include? Well, the Olympiad Village, there'll be free live entertainment every day, so that when you're done with your walks, you can come out and relax. So we'll have vendors and free live entertainment. And we might even have a couple of headliners on the Monday and Tuesday. And we're planning the community walk for Sunday. So I'm working on trying to get that sponsored so that we can share with everyone, not just locally, but regionally. We expect a good group, who we are and what we do. We try to make a push for to get the national news out here. We're still working on that. And I think that it was also they're targeting the walk next month in Virginia, the Freedom Walk Festival. I'm not sure how that went, but that was the plan. But either way, we'll outreach the national media. And that's about it for now. The full committee's coming out next month to put some of the final details on the walk routes and some of the planning.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you about Virginia, and we're deep into the throes with, 4 weeks to go. We have a number of tours coming from overseas, mostly Europe, for us this year. But the real big event will be in 2023. And remember, in the IML world, a separate organization, 27 events in 24 countries. It's kind of the premier league of walking because it requires longer distances and multiple days of longer distances in order to qualify for that award program. But in Virginia and in the IML system, it takes 3 events to qualify as a series, and you advance by the number of series. And for the very first time, the Olympiad counts, the TTR counts, and Freedom Walk counts. And that's the first time we'll have 3 events within 12 months and an entire series available in the Western Hemisphere. So we have some great routes on the Washington Rochambeau Trail each day. Quite honestly, you'll be actually walking under the Rochambeau Bridge and by the Washington Monument and some other monuments to that. But so we're looking forward to that in the middle of October as well. So,
Yeah, and we're already discussing next year. So when the IML Congress or delegates meet there, we will to also host the board convening as well. So how can we bring that together?
That would be great to bring the AVA Nation together with the entire leadership of the IML program as well when it comes in October of 2023. So, Henry, thanks so very much for joining us today, sir. I really appreciate it. But Jeff Gettings and all his work, thank you so very much as well. And this pretty much concludes our hour together. A lot of great things happening in the AVA Nation, and I think we have a lot to be very proud of. And it's because of each and every one of you and the work that you're doing at the local level. We're talking nationally, but it's only because you're walking locally that this program really is a success. And I think on behalf of the entire AVA Nation, thank you to each and every one of you who've taken the time to join us on this call and to learn a little bit more. As I said, it will be recorded. Henry, the final gavel is yours, sir. You're willing to, anything you want to say or wrap the gavel, it's yours.
Well, don't forget to invite your friends and family to join us and support us this Thursday and Friday.
All right, very good. That's your final commercial message brought to you by the AVA Nation. Thanks again. And
Thanks to all the donors who are out there who've already made contributions. I appreciate that. I'm afraid to say names because I'm going to forget somebody, but I'll say a couple: Tim and Cecilia and Jeff, and I know there's others, so I appreciate that very much.
well,
And Mike Green, I see Mike, and boy, I'm probably Susan Fine and Wayne, and gosh, that's why I don't want to mention names because I'm going to forget somebody and they're going to be upset. But thank you all.
Thank you. And thanks to each and every one of you. At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, we're going to stop the recording.